Are intrusive thoughts a part of spirituality? Intrusive thoughts are a part of everything. Not just spirituality or an awakening, or it could be about work, it could be about your loved one, it could be about your partner, it could be about anything. So intrusive thoughts are everywhere. What are my thoughts on that? Well, the very first thing we want to do is we talk about it from a scientific perspective. How is the nature of the wiring of my brain in connection to how I've done things in habitual patterns over and over and over and over and over again, to the point where my body has learned a chemical response to different kinds of emotions. So intrusive thoughts become easier the more you work out those kinds of paths. I always talk about it like the very first big snow that happens. The snow is piled up, 2 feet high, and you've got to go to your car, you got to, walk the dog or something like that. The very first time you walk through that path of snow, you create a sense of a path. It's not a clear path. There's just, large steps of your footprint in the snow, but it's a path, which means that the person after you, if they follow that path, will make it a little bit easier. Or maybe you go back and forth throughout that path to kind of go walk your dog a little bit. And now you have created space. Well, the brain works in the same way. The more you exercise a certain kind of thought process, the brain learns how to wire that thought process. So the very first thing with intrusive thoughts is we talk about it from a scientific perspective. Now, from a seer perspective, when I take a look at intrusive thoughts, for me, intrusive thoughts are visual. If I'm watching someone in front of me, if I'm having a conversation with a client, I take very clear note on what is the frequency shifting happening around the body. And the different ways that frequency shifts in terms of the color or the density or the way that it moves helps give me an identifier of what kind of intrusive thought. Was that an insecure thought? Was that an anxiety-inducing thought? Was that a stressful thought? Was that depression coming through? Because all of that looks like something. If that is of interest to you, you are more than welcome to come meet with me in a session. I actually love to train that. I love to train individuals, even muggles, to train them how to identify what those different thoughts are, because when you can identify it from the very beginning, you cut the head of the hydra off. There was so many different analogies today. That was a lot.